In the last 15 minutes Factbox, Parlez-vous Brexit. A Brexicon of the UK-EU breakup. EU leaders adopt guidelines on Brexit in the last hour. EU leaders agree Brexit talks. Guidelines Council Summit, EU 27, sign-off on Brexit transition deal. Brexit, EU approves guidelines for negotiations on future relations. May welcomes confirmed EU Brexit transition offer. EU approval of Brexit blueprint comes with Irish border warning in the last 2 hours. Taoiseach wants to keep the UK as close to EU as possible. After Brexit, EU leaders approve new strategy for Brexit trade talks with UK. EU gives go-ahead for Brexit trade talks to begin. Britain's EU partners agree terms for post-Brexit ties. PM May welcomes EU's offer for Brexit transition. May welcomes EU's offer for Brexit transition. EU leaders agree guidelines for talks on post-Brexit trade. In the last 4 hours, the EU has agreed to move to the final phase of Brexit talks. Britain's EU partners agree guidelines for post-Brexit ties. EU gives green light for Brexit trade negotiations to begin. 27 EU states formally adopt Brexit trade deal guidelines. EU green light for Brexit trade negotiations. Ports in Ireland need EU funding to avoid isolation following Brexit. EU leaders confirm Brexit transition offer. Joint trade line. Brexit transition period to be formally approved by EU. Britain, EU makes significant progress in Brexit talks. May Britain, EU make significant progress in Brexit talks. May what does Brexit mean for EU institutions? In the last 6 hours, leaders talk tariffs and Brexit on day 2. EU summit update. Irish ports need EU funding to avoid isolation following Brexit. In the last 8 hours, May calls on EU leaders to show energy and ambition in Brexit talks. EU summit moves from Russia to Brexit. Earlier today sees on new dynamic to agree Brexit deal. May tells EU Brexit deal took compromises. Theresa May tells EU leaders yesterday. Theresa May's Brexit message of energy and ambition to EU leaders. May to tell EU leaders it is their duty to seek ambitious Brexit deal. Post-Brexit passport to be made in the EU. Brexit Danes demand right to fish in UK waters under EU deal. Brexit transition will help Lloyd's EU legacy book conundrum. Vince Cable humiliated as EU leaders deny second Brexit vote. Claim video. Post-Brexit passport to be made in the EU. Pro-EU marchers to rally in Edinburgh to mark Brexit anniversary. 8 EU prime ministers back second Brexit referendum. Call. 8 UPMs deny backing second Brexit referendum. The UK's post-Brexit passport reportedly will be an EU import. EU member states continue to dictate Brexit. 8 EU leaders call on UK to hold another Brexit referendum. EU leaders back Lib Dem call for vote on Brexit deal. 8 EU leaders want second Brexit referendum. EU leaders back Lib Dem call for public to decide on Brexit deal. May seeks EU support for UK over Russia and Brexit. May arrives for EU summit set sign up to Brexit transition deal. EU leaders descend on Brussels for key Brexit summit. UK's May says she looks forward to EU endorsing Brexit transition. The EU will stick together over Brexit. UK's new Brexit passport contract goes to EU NATO alignment after Brexit. Made in France. Britain's new Brexit passport goes to the EU. Britain's post-Brexit blue passport to be made by EU firm. EU leaders meet in Brussels to decide on Brexit transition deal. UK to hold talks with EU about Gibraltar status after Brexit. EU summit. Theresa May's Russia mission faces Brexit test. EU leaders meet to discuss Brexit transition as Tusk backs agreement. EU leaders summit to tackle Brexit, nerve gas attack and tariffs. The EU gives Spain a Brexit deal veto over Gibraltar and leaked guidelines. Brexit set